Good day to everyone. Good day to everyone. And look, let's be very clear right now. Buyers are critical. As Marcus Kiminello said at Mastery, an event that McGrath and I held last week in Sydney, we have for a whole year, we have agents that come all over Australia and New Zealand. And we have 2 days at a time. And Marcus Kiminello basically said the agents that control the buyers control the market. Kim Hamilton was talking about you today because I was in seeing Michael Carolyn doing my CPD points. Hey, Panayotti from Athens, Les Carter from London. Everyone's coming on. Good to see you. So, team, firstly, let me tell you, if you think to yourself that you're going to put your listing on realestate.com and domain, whack a signboard up, do a few just listed brochures, and go to an open home thinking that you're going to sell a property, you got dreams, man. You're deluded. My friends, if you're going to an open home without doing the buyer prep work that I'm going to talk about, just take a novel with you, take a Kindle, or just sit on there and do a TikTok live, because I've got to tell you, you're not going to have 30, 40 people through. Yes, I get it. There's occasional properties that get incredible, engagement. They're the ones in the best street, the ones that are the beautiful homes that don't have to do anything. Or if you've got, a block of land in an incredible location, I get it. They're resilient proof. But I'm talking about normal real estate. Normal real estate, my friends, needs buyer management. And I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes telling you what the best agents I'm working with. And trust me, I have got a helicopter view better than anyone in the industry because I'm doing more coaching and training than anyone else in the industry. There are weeks that I do 70 coaching sessions. And I'm going to say to you, not only do I coach, but I learn from the coaching. And I'm also learning from the best agents who are telling me what are they doing to create sales with buyers. So let's go through a bit of a checklist. Number one, don't rely on open for inspections. You've got to have a private inspection philosophy, which means that now we have a hybrid model. You will have private inspections with high quality buyers. Hey, Peter, went to school with Peter, great agent out in the Liverpool area. You're going to have open for inspections, but you're going to complement that with a hybrid approach, and you're going to be doing opens and private inspections. Who do you do private inspections with? With hot buyers. Who's a hot buyer? If you ask any buyer, have they bid on anything? Have they made any offers? Or if they act in a positive response to this question, if we found your home and you absolutely adored it, is there any reason why you couldn't sign a contract straight away? Don't let that buyer go. Stick to that buyer like a stamp sticks on an envelope. Don't let that buyer go. Because my friends, in the marketplace that we're operating right now, you need to understand the buyer is critical. Without a buyer, you ain't getting paid. And that means that you've got to move into buyer management. 2 times a week, Monday, Friday, block out your diary and call it buyer work. You're rinking up buyers, real estate bomb inquiry, domain inquiry. You're making sure that you're calling all your open home people. Anyone that you've identified as a hot buyer, what you do is you make private inspections and you go off and you show them real estate. Now, if they're also in the category, which is they're a buyer that also owns real estate, they go up a level. Why? Because not only are they a buyer, they are a prospective seller. And even if you don't sell them something, if you service them, you'll get their listing. Absolutely critical. Next thing, you're open for inspections. Forget this bullshit. Same day callbacks. You do an open on a Saturday, you call them back Saturday afternoon. There's no point calling them on Monday because you're one of 10 people calling buyers on Monday and it becomes a blur. Plus, you can interrupt decisions by doing same day callbacks. Yes, I'm letting you know you're going to get home late on Saturday. That's the deal. We're working in a marketplace. Listen, if you're not working hard and you're working dumb, you're going to get devastated in this marketplace. There's no question about it. Volumes are lower and the list to sell ratio is changing. So it stands to reason if you just put up what you gave last year, you're going to make less money. And we don't want that. And your family doesn't want that. And the reality of the market is it doesn't have to be that way, right? Because great real estate agents make great incomes in any market because there's always a buyer and seller wanting to transact. You see, real estate is a lifestyle product. Bitcoin is purely to make money. Big difference. Let's move on. Are you asking the 6 magical buyer questions? Now get your pen out. I'm going to give you a chance to get your pen out. You need to have these 6 questions that are basically your elevator speech to every buyer when you sit down with them, because what you're trying to do is work out, are they category A, which is hot? Are they category B, or are they category C? So a hot buyer, and everyone should have at least 15. Try and have 25 hot buyers that you're working with, but a minimum 15. Here are the questions. Number 1, how long have you been looking? Number 2, have you made any offers on anything? Number 3, have you bid on anything? Man, if they've made offers or bid on something, don't let them go. They're hot. They're hot. They're hot, and they're in a hurry. They're not in the discovery phase. They're pulling a bullet, mate. They're pulling a bullet. Thank you, Mr. Michevsky. They're pulling a bullet. So, my friends, don't let buyers go that give you a positive response to these 2 questions. Have you made an offer on anything? Have you bid on anything? The next question, question number 4, you've got to ask every buyer is, what is the best home you've seen so far? And after they answered that, and that's a really important question, because a lot of buyers can't tell you what they really want, but the minute they tell you what the best home they've seen so far is, you can work out what they want, right? Buyers are terrible at explaining and articulating what are their 3 non-negotiables in a property. They'll just go off and they'll babble off a lot of things. But what we've got to do is to work out what's most important for them. And that's a good question. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, out of everything you've asked for, what are the 3 things that are most important in your next purchase? But for me, the question you want to ask them is, what's the best home you've seen so far, and what stopped you buying that one? Great question, because it's helping you understand, if they can't buy the best home they've seen so far, we could have an issue with their ability to buy right now. Maybe they've got to sell first. Maybe they're not in a position to actually be buying a property because their circumstances say they're going to buy in 2024. And that's useful to know, because I've got to tell you, driving around with buyers who aren't going to buy soon can drive you broke. And it's better to dig deep. Look, amateur agents make statements and get driven by the buyer. Pros ask questions and they drive the conversation themselves. So, do you ask those 6 magic questions? A couple of other things on great buyer servicing right now in this market. And that is, you've got to learn how to extract offers. And what I mean by this is, last year we had fear of missing out. They gave you an offer because they had fear if they didn't buy this, they'd be paying more next week. That's gone. Actually, we've got the opposite. Fear of missing out has been replaced by fear of overpaying. So what great real estate agents are doing in this market is that they're asking for offers, every buyer that's coming through. And I don't know what your approach is, but what I can say to you, asking for offers not only gets you an offer, potentially, but it gives you vendor feedback. And when you've got vendor feedback, you can actually sit there and help a vendor accept reality of the market, because you've heard me say it so many times that low offers, they are going to blame the market, but no offers, they're going to blame the agent. So we've got to be getting offers, and that requires you to be asking, questions of this genre. Hey, can I just ask you, out of curiosity, what price represents really good value on this one for you? Or what price on a contract would you buy this one? Or can I ask you, based on what you've seen and based on the current market, where do you think this property should sell at? This information is extremely useful in your vendor servicing. Now, please, if you get a decent offer from a buyer, don't go and give it to your owners without putting it on contract, because one of the biggest sins in real estate, my friends, hi Bassam, hi Taney, one of the biggest sins is this: giving an offer to an owner, that offer then not going ahead, and then that owner not getting the price again. And then they keep saying, but we got 1 million in the first week. But you didn't, because it never went ahead. That's why they've got to be on contract, right? And you're going to have to get good at handling offers, my friends. And when I say good at handling offers, when you get an offer, what you should do is actually have a really good approach. And here's an example. You get an offer. Thank you for that offer, Mr. Buyer. I just want to ask you, out of curiosity, how did you arrive at that number? How did you arrive at that number? Man, you've got to work buyers. You've got to have great negotiation skills. And there are times where you're going to have to reject the offer there and then quickly, because the highest chance of you getting an increase of an offer is at the offer. So if I got a really low offer on a property, I would just actually stop them having unrealistic expectations that they're going to buy it. And I'm just going to say, hey, I just want to say to you, that price level is unlikely to get accepted. We've had that sort of interest before. It wasn't accepted. So really what I need to do is to ask you, at what price level would you go to if it wasn't accepted? What would your next move be here? Right? And I think sometimes the question you've got to say to a buyer is, hey, I'm just curious. Would you like me to help you own this home? I can see that you're interested in it, but what I'm trying to working out is, do you want me to help you own it? Because if you want me to help you own it, I'm going to tell you what you're going to need to do. And the last thing, team, before we finish off today, short rant. The last thing before we finish off here today is I want to let you know you've got to go back to that COVID approach to showing property. Do you remember when we were in lockdowns and we couldn't do opens and we wanted to bunch our appointments here? We actually learned something. Bunching appointments creates social proof. It shows other buyers that other buyers do look at homes at the moment. It shows buyers that there could be someone buying this home that you like. So try and layer your appointments. You got an appointment at 4 o'clock, have another appointment at 4:15. You want to be able to actually show buyers, hey, we have got interest in this property. And I'm going to say to you, team, that if you get really good at this buyer servicing approach, and then we combine that with great vendor management, as Tania says, by doing some regular vendor reports, being great with our pricing, giving people what they need to hear, not what they like to hear. You've heard me say it before, or always say to a vendor, I might hurt you with the truth, but I'm never going to comfort you with a lie. If you get really good at this process, you're going to be able to not only survive, but thrive through these changing times. So team, I want to let you know, buyer servicing is the name of the game in this market. And I'm going to spend other periods of time talking to you about how to handle buyers with auction properties, because how you handle buyers with auctions is critical, right? On whether you're trying to encourage to get offers, when you get an offer, how you handle it. But team, this is the Monday Night Rant. It's come to you live. It's been a topic on how to create sales with buyers in the current market. Signing off.